Wait. Sorry, we have a sound police over here. And Dexter just staring at us.
Yeah, he is.
So we're going to keep this at his volume.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to kill us if we go over a certain decibel level.
So, interesting week here on the Immunilot Report.
Yeah.
And the Browns.
Browns were pretty active, right? I mean,
active? Didn't reach.
That was a big thing. Because
Yes.
they could have easily overpaid for a lot of position groups, but they didn't. And I'm happy they didn't, because then it leaves more room for other signings, which I think is going to be happening pretty soon. So hopefully this video gets released before some of the signings. So,
all right. Well, you got a favorite one so far?
So, I mean, I like Dalvin a lot. I think that's a really big pickup simply because he's a freaking monster of a person. He's 330 pounds. And that's exactly what we need as a defensive tackle. There's a big dude that can just, I mean, he can just fall over and he'll plug up a lane.
Yep.
So I think that's huge. So that's my favorite. Obviously, replacing John Johnson once we cut him was necessary. And I really like the direction we went in, because we definitely could have overpaid in that position as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Thornhill is a good player. I don't think he's like, I mean, I would have liked, Gardner Johnson, in my opinion, if I was to go for it. Obviously, Jesse Bates was another hot commodity in safety. But I think Thornhill fits us better. And I really like him. So, how about you?
Well, I think they did a tremendous job. So, the two guys I really wanted them to take a look at, they ended up signing both of them. And I only say this because they're not a big name. One's an up-and-comer, 2 Super Bowl rings, and then you got the seasoned veteran that has been doing this for a long time. You go with Dalvin, and like you said, he's a big run stuffer. He's taken on double teams. He knows how to do it. Last year, we did not have the size in the middle to deal with double teams. That's why we were one of the worst against the run.
Yeah, I mean, last year you actually saw people getting pushed to the backs on our defensive line. Yeah. They were that bad. And, and I think a big thing just thinking about like Jim Schwartz, since we, brought him in, is a massive push for that defensive line. Because I think he values that position quite a bit. And I think it's extremely needed, and it's something that we just, in the last defensive regime, could not give two shits about at all.
Mm-hmm. And then over at safety, Juan Thornhill, exactly the guy I wanted them to get, like even over Jesse Bates and them, because granted, those guys are definitely much better players. I think so. But like in Chauncey Gardner Johnson and Jesse Bates, I feel like they're already like seasoned. And I think Thornhill is still, I mean, he's only in like year 3 or 4. So I think he still has that potential to be that big time safety. A couple more seasons, he's making, getting to his second contract now. And he's seen 2 Super Bowls. He's playing both of them. So actually no, 3. 3. I forgot about the one that they got
Tampa.
They got their asses kicked in that one.
He won 2, been to 3, and so, for a young player,
I mean they're in the thick of it every year. So he's got some experience.
Yeah, an experience that he can obviously bring to this pretty young secondary, and I think that's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys I don't think he shies away from the run support, at least. He's in there making plays. He reads the run game pretty well.
Yeah, open field tackles he's pretty nice at as well.
Right. But I mean, I think we nailed those 2 guys down pretty good.
Yeah.
I think my next favorite one is Obo. Don't know how to pronounce the name yet. It is a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's a long one, and I don't even want to attempt it. But he's one of those dudes that actually have a ton of potential.
Well, and if you don't know who he is, he's a defensive end. He came from Houston. He's just got a Super Bowl ring with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think for what they signed him for and where he's at in his progression, this is a hell of a bargain.
Yeah.
You now have 3 guys on your front line as starters that were top 3 in the pass rush according to PFF. I mean, not top 3. You got 3 guys from the top 50. My bad.
You're good. Yeah, I know what you're going for. Yeah.
So I mean, I think this is an improvement in the pass rush. He's very crafty in the run defense. He finds ways to blow up plays, which is kind of sweet for a guy that's a little undersized.
Dude, I watched his highlight tape and he can move.
Yeah, he's good. Dude,
I mean, I saw him do.
He's like a lengthier guy.
Yeah, but I saw him do this one. It was like a 360 spin.
The spin to go spin back inside and sack the quarterback.
Incredible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just imagining if he really takes that step up and kind of like helps us and kind of like where I think Andrew Berry believes that he will. I can't imagine having to focus on, Dalvin in the middle. I mean, you can't. And Dalvin actually.
And I honestly don't think that. Sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
I don't think they're done on the defensive line. I mean, we still have the draft.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure if they're gonna say we're gonna draft a receiver in the second round because this is a deep receiver class.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the point. There is a very talented defensive tackle class in this draft. You got Perion Winfrey, who's I think the next one to step up, but they're going to add another guy that can be in that 4-man rotation that can tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've gotten pretty deep, but go ahead and continue.
But I think that's like a big thing. So you can't double team everyone. Something that is like Dalvin said in his intro press conference is that if he steps up, Owo steps up, and like Myles does Myles. We have a lot of rotational pieces that we signed. I mean, a lot of flyers, I would say, this week that we got a lot of defensive tackles. Tristan Hill.
I think that was a really good pickup. I like that.
For the prices that we're getting these guys, you can take a flyer or risk and be okay. Worst case scenario, we lose $2.5 million, right? And a lot of these guys have like a huge ceiling, like a lot of potential. But it's also those guys that, like, I believe he's the one that is quite hurt often. And, these guys have a bunch of potential, but they can also just be like, they couldn't, at the end of the day, they could not even make the team. Who the hell knows, right? Obviously Tomlinson and,
I like the Maurice Hurst signing. That was a good gamble. I liked him coming out of the draft a couple years ago. He was from Michigan, and then he got drafted by the Raiders, and he had a pretty solid couple seasons where he was starting to really take a big leap, and then he got hit with the injury bug, which is one of the biggest misfortunes in the NFL or any sport is. You get one, you keep going, especially when they're on the rise. Like, it's one of the worst things to watch in the NFL. But I think this is kind of like a Malik McDowell situation, but not in the same same content.
For sure.
As
he's a flyer guy. He could be really good, or he could just kind of crash and burn. We don't really know, but what we invested into him isn't massive. So I like it as well. And I think anything to kind of bolster this defensive line is worth it. And it's been needed for years. So I'm really happy they're starting to do it. I don't think they're done either. I think we'll probably get a few pieces in the draft. I think we'll get a receiver in the draft as well. It's another conversation. But an offensive piece, which I believe this is the only offensive piece that we did sign.
It was Jordan Atkins.
Tight end
from Houston.
From Houston.
Just came off a career high season in touchdowns and receiving yards.
So he had almost 500. And going back to 2019 with Deshaun Watson, he had mid 400s. So he has a lot of progression, a lot of pretty good stuff that
for
he can show.
For a second tight end, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, and I think he'll be fighting for that second spot, but I think he'll actually just win that because I don't think Harrison Bryant is... I mean, he didn't make that jump that we wanted him to, and he's just kind of falling out. And he's had a lot of drops, a lot of fumbles, especially that rookie year. And you barely saw him last year, and
it's like his play time has gone down significantly.
And when you see play time go down, it's for a reason. Either you see it or you don't. He's just not.
I still think there's a lot of more potential in him. I don't think they're done with him. I just think he needs a little more time. But I also think they need to play him a little more and give him an opportunity. Because he does come up in a clutch a lot, I think.
Because the dude is like 6'8".
He's a good route runner, too.
He's big. I don't think he's 6'8". I think he's like 6'6" or 6'7", but still. I like that. But you definitely saw those, especially in the second half of the year, that pretty much that second tight end was Pharaoh Brown.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm glad we went out and got another person, especially someone that has some chemistry with Deshaun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like our free agency signing so far. Obviously, a lot more to go.
I think they need one more move. One more, pretty big move in getting a starter or something.
Offensive, defensive side.
It's going to be offense, and it's the receivers that we were talking.
Is it Thornhill reaching out and tweeting?
Yeah.
I would really like that.
Hardman is one of the guys I'd like.
Yeah. And I think at this point it's the most realistic.
I think so too. And then I still think they saved a lot of money in cap to go make a move like this. They're still in the play for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
It's not like they're completely out. So, I mean, this time last year we were told, we're out of the race for Deshaun. Well, now we have Deshaun. So,
yeah.
I'm not going to take that with a grain of salt, saying it's not possible. Anything's possible at this point. And then the two other guys I think you can get even cheaper is Elijah Moore and Brandon Cooks. And honestly, I'm the Brandon Cooks guy. I think he's been solid wherever he goes. I feel like it's only going to cost you a third or a fourth. You just got a 98th overall pick. Go ship that over. And go add a guy that has chemistry with Deshaun Watson.
I would say this. If the Giants can get Darren Waller for the 100th pick, I think we could get literally anyone at this point for that 98th pick.
Yep.
I mean, to think about the Cardinals got DeAndre Hopkins for a 4th rounder. What could say right now that we could ship that 98th to the Cardinals and a player? And, I don't think it's a bad move, but I'm going to be on the opposite side of you with Cooks and Elijah Moore. I like Elijah Moore. I think he's, a big guy. I think he has a ton of potential, and I think the Jets are just trying to sell at this point.
Yeah.
Because if they're getting Rodgers, they already brought in Lazard. They have Garrett Wilson. If Randall Cobb comes, they need to get rid of at least one or two of those receivers. I mean, even Mims, we could be if they just cut him straight up. I mean, that'd be a nice pickup. But I would like Elijah Moore, and I think to have him as a rotational piece or as a number 3 receiver, I think is doing a disservice to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would rather shop him and get rid of him, get something for him, than just have him and underutilize him. Because a lot of people can play that number 3 role.
Yeah.
He can be that number 2. And I would really like that pick.
Well, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm up for really any of those four. I think they would be able to stay in the same market. I mean, have the same cap going into the next season. It's not going to kill them because they're all on 1 year contracts. Um, you could invest in Elijah Moore because he's still a younger guy out of the other three. Um, but I think they can't go wrong there. Uh, Even if they dip into an older veteran in free agency like Thielen, I think that'd be a very interesting move for the team. Um, but I think you got to go Hardman.
I would love it. Yeah, Hardman, I think he fits the mold of the Browns the best.
Yeah, they
And
they need someone that can take the lid off the defense.
exactly.
They haven't had that yet.
Exactly.
They expected Anthony Schwartz to do that, but the dude couldn't even catch COVID. So, and that's messed up that I gotta say that.
Oh, that's good.
He is awful. He shouldn't be on the football field. I think they're gonna give him one more chance. But if they add two receivers, either in free agency and the draft,
He's the odd man
he's out. You can't get rid of David Bell because David Bell showed some signs, and then they're between Schwartz and Michael Woods. There's no way.
It's not even a comparison.
And you got to remember they have.
You know what? I think that
they still have Grant on the receiving core.
Yeah, they do.
Jakeem Grant.
Yeah. You know what I could see what them doing with Schwartz though, is cutting him, bringing him back as a practice squad guy, kind of like what they did with what's his name?
Corey Coleman.
No, small little guy, never really did anything for us. Like he was with us through 2020. I mean, this dude was like 5'5".
I can't think of that right now. 2020.
Here, I'm gonna look this up real quick. Sorry, guys. 2020.
Hodges?
No. Oh man, I'm totally blank on this guy's name. This is gonna be.
Well, anyways, I think they got one more minor move to make, and that's on the defensive side of the ball. I think right now is linebacker
JoJo Natson.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That took way longer. I couldn't think of the name. But JoJo Natson is very similar to what I think they would do with Schwartz. I think he might prolong in the practice squad. And we might see him from time to time be like, damn it, he's still here.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, what you were saying.
Just linebacker position. They re-signed Taki.
Yeah.
They still have JOK. Yeah, Taki is one of the most underrated players on our team. Definitely doesn't get the love that he should. He's probably one of the more consistent players on the defense.
Agreed.
He's not great. He's not awful. He's just consistent.
It's like a $2 million contract for
there's no boom or bust on this guy.
Yeah.
I think they get away with the steal.
He's just gonna play how Taki plays, and that's an absolute steal for $2 million when you look at a linebacker. And other re-signings, Ethan Posick.
Oh yeah,
he's back. He signed a 3-year contract with us, so that's nice. Some people are saying he's still going to be the backup, and I highly doubt that. No, because I don't. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to be the backup, and you don't give a person a 3-year contract, and the dude who's the third highest rated center in the entire NFL last year, like that is not your backup. Like I don't care how much you think, blanking on his name right now.
Nick
Harris. I can't believe Nick Harris got pushed over and tore his knee in a preseason game. That's not a great sign. That dude has to bulk up and he's still getting pushed over. It's not I like Nick Harris, but dude, Ethan Posick was the guy last year and said third center in the entire league. You signed him to a 3-year deal. I really like that, and I think he's going to start next year. I think it's pretty clear in my opinion. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. And we signed another person in AJ Green.
Oh yeah.
AJ Green got re-signed. I love it.
I like AJ Green a lot too.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
They're gonna have to change it up because they are looking at slot corners. So don't be surprised when they draft another corner in the second round this year.
Well, what does that? What
It's
does
coming.
that say about Greg or Denzel?
Well, it was. I mean, you got to look at this. Greg said that he doesn't want to play in the slot
At all.
so
He's done.
I don't think that's gonna happen. So they're gonna have to add another slot corner.
But then, what do you do with Emerson?
I think that.
Does he step back into a rotational, or?
Well, you got to look at it like this. This NFL it's different than it's ever been.
True.
Because the passing offense. And so you got to be able to throw a lot of different looks at them defensively.
Yeah.
And for matchups and stuff. So there's going to be games that you're going to see a lot more Emerson than you see Newsome.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be games you see Newsome more you see than Emerson. So you got to be able to shake it up. Even on different, drives. Like you're going to see more of these guys.
Yeah.
It's just all about different packages that you can add.
And I think... Yeah, I think they will obviously keep all these guys because, I mean, Greedy's gone. He's with the Eagles now.
Yep.
But I think with a lot of these guys, I think cornerbacks are so needed. Not only, yes, because they're moving into a pass-heavy offensive in the NFL simply based on the movement of these quarterbacks that they're able to do. I mean, just take a look at the running back market. These guys are getting paid nothing.
Yep.
A bunch of, no one cares about it. They franchise tagged Saquon at $10 million. That's where the franchise tag's at for running backs. And you see guys, like Miles Sanders, just is like, all right, hey, starting running back, we have Gainwell. We can go get someone else. We can draft someone else. Like the value of running backs are so low, and you've barely seen any movement on these guys. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott just got cut.
Yep, and the Titans put Derrick Henry on the block.
Yeah, so it's weird to see a lot of these guys, all these top guys, getting traded or just getting, their value is just nowhere anymore because they aren't being utilized in this pass-heavy offense that everyone's going to. In the next 5 years, running backs are going to be smaller, more agile, and they're going to be running and catching. And if you don't do both of those, you're not very useful in the NFL because you look at people like, look at Leonard Fournette. I mean, he was just cut from Tampa Bay. Do you think a big guy like that, similar to Kareem Hunt, is going to go anywhere and get paid any more than $5 million a year?
I don't think so.
That dude was killed it in the Super Bowl 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Well, I think this raises a good question now. Now that the Browns are out Kareem Hunt, what do they do? Well, you let Jerome Ford develop a little more and let him get some more snaps. Or, now that it kind of changes up now, I think that raises the possibility because how deep the free agency is for running backs. He comes back to Cleveland on a very, very cheap deal.
Kareem Hunt?
Yes, because the market right now it's not very good for running back, especially a running back of Kareem Hunt's category or Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
They're going to have to suck it up and play on a cheap deal this year, and it's not even their fault.
Yeah.
So I think this brings the possibility of Kareem Hunt coming back to Cleveland.
Let me pose. I totally agree. I think it's totally possible because he's not going to get the money he thinks he's going to get, and when he's looking at going to the Texans or the Panthers or Seattle, and he's like, I could just come back to Cleveland for the same price, if not a little even more. I think he would.
Right.
But now, what do you think about a guy that no one's really talking about all that much? Would you take Kareem Hunt if you were to get the same price for him or McKinnon?
See, McKinnon would be more one that would fit the scheme a little bit better.
Exactly.
I saw him on the list this week, and I was thinking, well,
he's a receiving back. He kills it.
I mean, he's torn it up everywhere
he's a
gone.
touchdown machine. You just throw a dump pass to him. He's really good in the flats. He can catch. He can run. That's the dynamic player that we would need. And I don't think Kareem Hunt, as he's been aging, and especially we saw last year, changing his play style ever so slightly and just age, he's not holding up all that well.
Yeah.
So if I was to get them for a similar price, I'd go McKinnon. Even though
McKinnon would be, I would say I would go for McKinnon over Kareem just because it changes up the pace of the game. But like you said, that Kareem kind of degressed, but like changed his style of running. So it's kind of the same, style. Now you get a little more power and flash hybrid and just a flashy guy in general. And McKinnon, he's like a downhill runner where Chubb is one cut back.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a Marshawn. That's what he's always remind me of. Marshawn was always that one cut, take a juke, and he was gone.
Yeah.
So I think that would be definitely an interesting pickup to just bolster this offense. I think they need to get a little deeper on the offensive line. Probably in like the guard position. But other than that, it's almost that time to get ready for the draft, get our homework done.
Yeah.
What do you say? Wrap this up?
Wrap it up, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll have a video pretty soon covering the draft and any additional free agent signings. So hopefully we get Hardman or someone here soon. We'll post you.
You hope you get Hardman?
Chris, I knew that was coming. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You have a great night. Go Browns.
Go Browns.